This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Hello.
Well, let's get back to it.
Last year was the hottest on record. As in ever, a new study has warned that the worst is yet to come.
What?
Thanks to El Nino, this is. Yeah, appreciate it, El Nino.
Thank you.
It's the warming of the surface sea temperatures that happens once every few years. The Bay of Bengal, the Philippines and the Caribbean Sea are all likely to be hit by record heat waves before June this year. This is according to experts. Experts are warning that there is a 90% chance of record-breaking global average surface temperatures occurring over the same period. 90%. That's almost 8 out of 10. And as the world experiences even small rises in average temperatures, some regions see significant increases during local extreme heat events. The effect is so pronounced that the researchers that wrote the paper said they found that in a moderate scenario, the Bay of Bengal, the Philippines and the Caribbean Sea will all experience record highs of more than 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit above average. In Alaska, these spikes could be as much as 4.3 degrees Fahrenheit above average. And what does Alaska have, apart from 3 A's, an L and a K? Glaciers and permafrost. And of the glaciers or permafrost, if they melt, it could mean sea levels rise and heating spiralling out of control. We're going to need a bigger boat. Meanwhile, in the Amazon, extreme heat events will create an increased risk of drought-fueled wildfires in the place that is called the lungs of the world. And if that happens, your oxygen mask will drop from the ceiling. Make sure you put your mask on before helping others. And the stewardess will not be available. The drinks trolley will be put away. Previous studies have suggested that rising temperatures due to climate change could spark a wave of mega hurricanes with speeds of up to 192 miles an hour. Your whole house will be blown away, and you'll go from black and white to colour. You'll have to beat the Wicked Witch of the West with only a scarecrow without a brain. Unfortunately, the model also suggests that it is coastal areas that will be the most prone to extreme weather. And what have we got a lot of in this country? Coastal areas. But you can dismiss all of that as being due to global warming because it's cold out. Snow has made a return to Britain despite it being the start of spring. Snow?
Oh, no.
The Met Office is forecast to snow in the coming days, mostly over hills. Mostly. With up to 10 centimetres possible in Scotland, Wales, northwest England, southwest England and Northern Ireland, which sounds like everywhere to me.
Correct.
The Met Office put on a yellow weather alert.
Warning.
For rain and wind earlier this morning, which they said could lead to transport disruption. But as there is always transport disruption, you will not have noticed the difference. A Met Office spokesmodel said, we're expecting some further snowfall during the coming days. Any snowfall is primarily expected for the higher ground, but we will see some transient snow at lower levels. Snow? Would you like to hear the long-range forecast for the next 4 months?
No.
Next 4 weeks? Tomorrow, rain, and when it's not raining, it will be showering, and when it's not showering, it will be mizzle. And then the first half of the month, from the middle of next week, a dry spell. Can you remember a dry spell?
No.
I'm not in... you know where, I bet. I bet you know where isn't going to be having a dry... I can check on that while you wait. Let's just see the forecast for the northwest. Well, it's if it's not raining at the moment in Glasgow, it will be within an hour or so. It will be raining tomorrow and raining on Sunday, but not raining on Monday. Is that right? Blimey, you're going to have sun on Monday. It will be raining on Tuesday, but then what? Sunny on Wednesday and sunny on Thursday. Not raining on Friday or Saturday or Sunday. Pfft, rubbish. A little bit of rain on Monday and then not on Tuesday and coming back on Wednesday and then sunny on Thursday. You won't know where you are. So from the middle of next week, a dry spell, but not in the northwest. Well, it'll be a little bit dry, but not enough to actually dry out your clothes. You will still remain damp for the foreseeable future. And then for the rest of us, for the second half of the month, wintry. Yeah. The wettest conditions most likely to be in the south. Temperatures are more likely to be near or below average, though some warmer days are possible at times. Some warmer days are possible at times? We'll take it. Craig texts, Trump announces at one of his rallies, if I'm on a ship and it's going down and I'm sitting on top of a battery, I'm getting concerned. The whole world is getting concerned, Donny. I think that the whole world has they've sort of given up on the American election, haven't they? They just the assumption is that the screaming Mimi is going to win.
Oh, shut up!
Yeah, and he'll be telling us how presidential he can be.
I can be more presidential than anybody.
Than anybody. Mm-hmm. We've just assumed that it's going to be him. But people have continually represented the prospects of Sleepy Joe Biden over and over and over again. I do believe he is the president of the United States of America right now.
I'm president. Can you believe it?
No, we're still stunned. I won by a lot, a tremendous amount. It's a steal. It's a disgrace what is happening to our country. Maddie texts. Oh no, there's still some more off that out of that text. What I just finished half of. He says Trump said, "If I'm on a ship and it's going down and I'm sitting on top of a battery, I'm getting concerned." Just close your eyes and stick your tongue out, Donny. He says, "But 10 yards to my left, there's a shark over there, and I've got a choice between electrocution and being eaten by a shark, and I'm going to take electrocution every time." Well, it's a decision. Your husband has decided to be electrocuted, Melania.
I don't care.
She's not that bothered. Craig asks, why would he be sitting on top of a battery on a sinking ship? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's an idiot.
Don't be rude.
Matty says, Tichy is such a hypocrite, it's enough to make you cringe. He can't even get his own circus in line. He bounces around like Sweep, trying to deflect from all the horrors that the Tories have inflicted on us. At least the Labour Party have said sorry about Rochdale. When have the Tories ever said sorry for anything? That's a good point. Yeah, when have the Tories ever said sorry about anything? I can't remember. Can you remember, Tichy?
No, I don't recall, and I don't recall. I can't specifically recall. Can't precisely recall. No, I don't remember. But I don't precisely. I can't remember it precisely. I can't precisely recall that. I don't recall the precise timing and the date, and I don't remember specifically. I don't precisely remember that. I don't recall. I don't recall I can't comment on the particular. Yes, I mean I don't recall seeing. I said I don't recall. Yeah, I can't recall this. That's all I can recall.
That's all he can recall. He is the Prime Minister of this country. Can you believe that?
No.
Darryl says the government might introduce a rolling age limit for smoking. But what would happen if, say, the age limit had reached 30 and a 25-year-old Frenchman, who is inevitably a smoker, came here on holiday? Would he be arrested and thrown in jail? For smoking, I mean, not for being French. Not for being French. For which the punishment is... They know what they've done. 0345 6060 973. Blackpool. Hello, Ben.
Hey, you all right?
Yes, good, thanks.
So I've got a few questions. So obviously we know about the situation in Rochdale.
Mm-hmm. What is the situation in Rochdale?
Well, they've elected someone that isn't Tory or Labour.
Yeah, or from Rochdale.
Or from Rochdale, which I completely agree with.
What does that mean? Hang on and back up. What does that mean? You don't think that people from Rochdale should be elected as Rochdale representatives? Not qualified enough?
Oh, no, I completely agree. Even though he's not from Rochdale,
yeah,
I do believe that the people wanted to vote for him and he's won the election, you know what? Fair enough. That's the people of Rochdale voting for who they want.
Some of the people from Rochdale, yeah. Very, very small number of the people from Rochdale, yes.
But my question is about Blackpool.
Yes,
Blackpool,
what's your query, sir?
So Blackpool, don't know how often you've ever visited.
I've been there once.
Once?
Yeah.
So it was...
To see the lights. They were a delight.
Oh, they are.
I love them.
Well, they used to be when I was a child.
Yeah. Then what?
But now they've kind of gone...
Downhill.
Sort of,
yeah.
Yeah.
They don't shine as brightly as they once did. That's probably got something to do with the European Union.
No!
My main question is...
Yes.
Do
you have supplementary questions?
Why is always Blackpool always voted either Labour or Tory? And because there are so many people in Blackpool now, there is now, I think, about 100 sort of YouTube channels, Twitch channels, which is like obviously involved in social media,
obviously
showing how poor Blackpool is.
Yes,
and yet we keep electing
people who keep you poor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
and it's mostly Labour, but the Tories aren't any better.
No. Could they quite possibly be worse?
The Tories possibly could be worse, but
yes.
I think from our viewpoint as a working class citizen, if you look at what Labour Party's done and sort of dragged it sort of downhill,
yeah.
You look at what the Tories have done in God knows how many elections now, and they've ruined to me the country. What I will say is, why has no one sort of thought about, you know what, we've got schools, we've got education, we've got in Blackpool, we've got Blackpool Sixth Form, we've got Blackpool College, we've got
other schools are available. Yeah,
we've got obviously like the university systems over here.
Do you?
I mean,
the University of where?
I went to.
The University of where?
We've got the University of Lancaster, which is all included in the area of Blackpool because Blackpool is in Lancaster.
Is it?
Well, obviously it is.
Obviously.
Well, Blackpool is in Lancaster.
Well, I don't know. You haven't given us any evidence that is the case, but I'll just take it as read. Go on.
Well, it's geography. I'm not being funny, mate.
Geography is the study of rocks? No, I don't think so.
Geography is about math knowledge. About
maths?
About the world, about the global world.
Yeah. The global world.
China is in Asia.
China.
That's geography.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm saying to you is, why have we never sort of prioritised getting sort of people from lower class, working background, and when they can get their like kids to like college, university, if they're lucky.
This is the world's longest question.
Why have we never supported those people into being politicians? Because they come from a lower class background.
Supported those people into being politicians? I think you have to. It's something you have to do yourself. There's no course. PPE, of course, not PPE. That's the that's the racket. But you know what I mean.
I'm saying, why are we always electing Labour and Tories?
Right. Well, why don't you ask the good people of Blackpool that?
Well, I don't know. You keep posting yourself on our buses. I'm not joking when I say every time I look at a Blackpool bus, it's LBC.
Great.
So I will say this. Saying this.
Yes.
Is
this part of the same question, or is this a supplementary question?
This is a supplementary
question. Right. Were you completely satisfied with the answer I gave to your main question? Semi.
Well, I will say, why have we not ever have homegrown person? Because obviously we mentioned about Rochdale.
Yeah.
Why have we not had a homeless person?
Yeah.
From Blackpool.
Homeless person from Blackpool.
In Blackpool.
Yes.
That is elected.
Right.
We always never have someone from Blackpool that cares about Blackpool.
Right. Well, that's the fault of the good people of Blackpool for continually voting for the wrong person. Are you totally satisfied with that answer, Semi?
But what would you? It's all right saying that, but what would you encourage people of Blackpool?
What would I encourage people of Blackpool? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, to vote for someone that actually cares about Blackpool. What would you make them see reasons?
I would say just do it. You don't need an inducement. I'm not going to come out and give you a fiver for doing the right thing. Just do it, for crying out loud. Who did you vote for last time, Ben? I didn't.
Me. I think it was the Liberal Democrats. Actually.
Oh, the Liberal Democrats.
No!
The lefty, the wokerati.
Okie dokie.
Mm-hmm.
That was only because I didn't believe in the Tories.
Yeah.
Or
maths.
Oh, no, I got an A in maths, so don't
Did
worry
you?
about that.
Right, what are 6 8s?
Sorry? You say what is 6 plus 8?
But no, what are 6 8s?
6 8 of what?
Oh, I'm sorry, you failed this test. You get an F. But I do believe he was not entirely satisfied with the answers that I gave, but semi-satisfied. We've got a semi.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
You're wondering what it's all about, and I can't tell you because I don't know myself.
Absolutely no clue whatsoever as to what has been going on this show so far. But for the benefit of those still in confusion, if you are living in a land of confusion, then my glamorous assistant next door has offered the following answer to what are 6 8s, and he says 48. Well, I don't know where you went to school, mate, but you're just embarrassing yourself on national radio. 0345 6060 973. Aberdeen, Daniel.
Hi, Nick. How are you doing?
Great, mate.
Excellent. There was 3 short things I want to talk about.
Yeah.
The first one
Rishi
is...
Sunak, Tom Cruise, and Lady Gaga.
Not quite. The first one was the podcast recently.
Which one?
You and Carol were grasping for a word.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that word was utilitarian.
Was it? It's very hard to know what kind of what we're grasping for, but it could quite possibly have been utilitarian. I know that one of the words that I was grasping for was ritual, which is an odd word that eluded both me and Carol almost every time we tried to think of it. And I now can pull it out of the air because I have created a mnemonic device. Ritual de lo habitual is a song by... Can't remember, but anyway, I just every time that I'm trying to grasp that word, the song "Ritual de lo Habitual" comes into my head. It might be the name of an album actually. By I can picture him, but I can't remember. Jane's Addiction is the right answer. Jane's Addiction.
Want to score some pot?
Precisely right.
It was that same episode. You're grasping for those
utilitarian
in that same episode. Yeah.
Mm. You're talking about, by the way, the podcast that I do with Carol McGiffin.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which is called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? It's an absolute delight. I think you'll love it. Comes out twice a week on Fridays and Mondays. Today's just went up, and it is a delight from start to finish. But the idea is that we try to solve people's problems while laughing our faces off. If you want us to have a bash at your dilemma, then you must send it to the following address, Daniel. nickandcarol@global.com. That's NICKANDCAROL @global.com. But prepare for total satisfaction.
I almost read that email address for you.
You hear it enough and it just sings in your mind, doesn't it?
I do.
Yeah.
The other thing was George Galloway.
Mm-hmm.
He makes me ashamed to be Scottish.
Now, is it the part where he doesn't take his hat off when he goes indoors? Because that's pretty embarrassing. What's that about? I mean, apart from, the obvious lack of turf upstairs.
It's a bit like Bono with his sunglasses.
The thing with sunglasses is, though, if you wear them long enough, you have to wear them. I think Elton John's like that. He's been wearing them for so long that you can't not wear them because you get all squinty.
Yeah, I'm kind of a hypocrite because I wear mine all the time as well. They're sort of polarising lenses.
Yeah.
They make the world look wonderful.
Well, I tell you what, you pick the right colour lens and it does put a real sort of Disney cartoon spangle on the world.
It does, yeah. It's like
it really does.
It's like looking through an amazing filter.
Yeah, although Bongo uses blue, which is not a good colour to look through because it makes everything seem cold. If you choose yellow... every day is a sunny day.
Well, a few years ago, I got these really amazing sunglasses. I went into the optician, got my eyes tested.
Did you have any?
Yeah, 2 thanks.
2 thanks. Okay. One on each side of your face, yes.
Yes. So anyway, it got to the sunglasses thing, and they said, "What colour would you like your lenses?"
Yeah.
So I said, "I don't know really." So she said, "Well, I could make you a mix of all of them."
Well, like a pair of rainbow glasses.
I don't. It was when they had the lab in the shop and they could make them on site.
Yeah.
And so they made me these sunglasses.
But a combination of all the colours is white or black, depending.
Well, I mean, I can see through it.
Right.
So it's transparent, but it's just I've never experienced anything like it. It's just.
Well, what colour are they?
A mix.
A bit of everything.
Yeah. I don't know how they did it, whether they sort of sprayed a sort of liquid colour mix. Or
wow, I bet you don't know if it's real life or you're hallucinating.
Oh, I'm always in the real world, both feet on the ground.
I tell you what, this is very, very good advice. If you are choosing sunglasses, choose the kind that don't take too much light out. You know, assuming that you're not in very, very bright conditions. If you want to turn a gloomy day into a sunny day, pick yellow lenses that aren't too dark. You know, like Bongo wears lenses that you can see his eyes through, right? They're not like real sunglasses. They just sort of tint the world for him. And there's something to sort of hide behind, because you feel as though you are literally behind something, your eyes are, but then just because your eyes are behind something, you feel as though you've got a shield in front of you. And I guess that's why famous people wear sunglasses a lot. But it's not taking much of the light out, because you can see straight through them. But if you pick yellow ones, holy macaroni, every day is another sunny day.
And good for driving as well.
Is it?
Yeah, apparently it increases safety, particularly at night. My dad used to love these gadget magazines in the 80s.
I seriously doubt that wearing sunglasses at night is a great addition to road safety.
Well, they used to sell these kind of yellow tinted glasses, and they claimed it improves safety.
Right.
And I think it's something to do with street lights. It kind of amps the brightness down or something.
Right, and if you pick really big ones, then they'll act as a shield that prevents you from bashing your face in if you crash into something and you smash your face into the steering wheel. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I was going to talk about weather as well.
Oh, it's a bit too late now.
Oh, is it? All right then.
Yeah, better luck next time. Thanks a lot, mate.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
Yeah, it's all about glasses that you wear when you're driving at night, and they're sunglasses. It doesn't sound like a very good idea to me, but what do I know? I'm not an expert on this or any other subject. And the glamorous assistant next door just pulled up a picture of said sunglasses that bloke's dad might be wearing, and they have very, very thick frames. It'll probably make him look like Joe 90. Anybody remember Joe 90?
No.
Just me? What was Joe 90's thing? That's what I was thinking during the news. I mean, I know what, she swam. Well, she had a fishtail. And, the Thunderbirds, they had all those excellent machinery, gadgets and stuff. But what was Joe 90's thing? And I had to look it up because I couldn't remember. And according to the World Wide Weight, the adventures of 9-year-old Joe McLean is Joe 90. He can have the skills, knowledge and experience of top experts downloaded into his brain. I know Kung Fu. Like that. I wonder if he took the red pill or the blue pill. If I ever get the choice, I think I'm going to take them both, see what happens. Have a little purple patch. 0345 6060 973. Belsize Park, Judy.
Hello.
Yes.
I'd like to raise the topic that has nothing to do with your programme whatsoever at the moment.
I'm sorry, but we're only accepting calls about Blackpool.
No, I'm not doing Blackpool. But before that, can I please defend your glamorous assistant?
No.
Just because you are totally ignorant in the mathematics department.
Wow.
He is not. And his 6/8 are 48, and he is correct in every respect.
I think you'll find that is wrong. Look it up, Judy. It's perfectly simple. A fool could do it.
If you're not very careful, your glamorous assistant could pull the plug on you. May I remind you? Anyway,
there is no plug.
Well,
is there?
There must be some. Anyway, that's not why I phoned. Why I phoned was I couldn't phone yesterday because you were doing a serious kind of programme.
Yeah.
But yesterday was February the 29th, which only comes round, obviously, every 4 years.
Every 5 years, yeah.
On a leap year.
Mm-hmm.
On a leap year.
Yeah.
And I was wondering whether anybody who has a birthday on February the 29th could tell... but you can't do that. That's entirely my point. I wondered... Do they celebrate on the 28th of February, or are they celebrating today? And then, for instance, when they've been on this planet for 20 years, they're only 5 years old.
7 years old, yeah.
So I just wondered, unless it's a totally boring topic and nobody's interested.
Well, let's put it out there and see what they say. What do you think, kids?
Boring.
Well, you asked for that.
Have you never thought... I mean,
no.
I feel quite sorry for people.
Oh.
Well...
No, I understand, yeah. I think that if my birthday was on the 29th, then you can't do it on the 28th. You just can't. So you'd have to do it on the day after the 28th, whatever that may be.
Well, that would be March the 1st.
Yeah, in this instance.
Yes.
Yeah, pinch and a punch for the first of the month.
But I would like to wish a belated happy birthday to everybody who actually had a birthday yesterday.
Yeah, or didn't.
Or no, they did. No.
Oh, I suppose they did. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
That's my whole point.
Yeah.
That they had a birthday.
Yeah.
So that was lovely, and it was a bit remiss of you not to play a nice happy birthday jingle.
Well, I tell you what, they get a Rococo version of said tune. And they can stop whining about it.
They don't whine, but I just would like to know, and maybe it'll only be me interested, but I just think it would be interesting to know.
Right. So
and stop being so horrible to your glamorous assistant.
Well, yeah, he gets what he deserves. That's all I'm going to say on that issue. He knows what he's done. All right. Thanks a lot, Judy.
Okay,
cheers,
thank you.
Ta-ta. She had absolutely nothing to say about Blackpool. Can you believe that? 0345 6060 973. Still the message coming in from next door. He's in a state of high dudgeon. He says, what are 6/8 then? Like a stroppy child? A child? Well, what are they then? You know so much. 6/8 are 52. I don't know what they're teaching the kids these days, but multiple tables times thing. What is it? Multiplication tables. Once learned, never forgotten. 6/8 are 52. Any fool know that. 0345 6060 973. New Malden, Ahmed.
Oh, hello, Nick. Sorry, I'm calling a little bit early. I thought...
early?
Yes.
I think you're right on time.
Oh, good. Excellent. Yeah, it looks like Galloway's Rochdale has rattled Richie Sunak's cage. And
his mink-lined cage. I bet he's got... if he had a cage, it wouldn't rattle. He'd have a man fixing it night, and if he detected a rattle, then he'd have a man or woman, sexist, come over and fix it.
Well, yes.
Give it a bit of an oil.
Well, it is disgraceful that he's making the same racist remarks as Suella Doberman and 30p Lee Anderson and the likes.
Suella Doberman was on the front page of the Express today. It's absolutely hilarious. Every single thing that woman says and does fills me with the deepest delight and joy.
And Rishi Sunak, he's saying the same thing now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's totally disgraceful. Unelected Prime Minister is making...
hang on a minute, back up. What did you say?
Yeah.
A totally unelected...
Well, he's not elected Prime Minister.
No, wait a minute. You're saying Prime Minister in the same way that Skier says Prime Minister. He says Prime Minister.
No,
as though it's some sort of device to keep tasty snacks moist. A pie mister? What's that?
I mean, these politicians, they just have no ethics, no integrity. No. I mean, I know we have this so-called democratic system.
Not really, kind of. It's sort of democratic every now and again, and then we lapse into a dictatorship for 4 years.
But now, a level of behaviour, conduct is totally unacceptable.
It's disgusting.
I think it's disgusting. I really think it's disgusting. I think something should be done about it.
Something should be done about it.
Well,
I want you to get on the case, Ahmed. What are you actually doing about it? Nothing at all, just complaining.
Well, I am, but I mean, wherever I say I can raise my voice, and if decent people start doing that, we get rid of this lot.
Right, stop shouting.
You know, that's all we can do. And we've given them a blank check to do whatever they want.
Whatever they want, yeah.
Nothing is working in the,
Nothing is working in... I can't name it. Name a thing that is working in this country right now that is an improvement on where it was 14 years ago. This is the topic virtually every other week on this show, and not one single solitary person has ever given me an example.
Well, exactly. I think there is something not right about the way our government system is at the moment.
I couldn't agree more.
It needs to be overhauled.
Yeah, overhauled, yeah. Maybe they should all be put in overalls and made to pick up rubbish at the side of the road. That would be a good idea.
Straight jackets, I think, more like.
Yeah. All right, excellent work there, Ahmed. I wanted to keep your eyes peeled and let me know if there are any developments. All right.
Will do.
Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. Martin says the PM says that extremists are threatening democracy. When he refers to extremists, my first assumption was that he just meant the dwindling remainder of the Tory party, but maybe he is also adding Farage and Tice in there as well, just to make up the numbers. Can we see a list, please? Providing a list is his number one priority.
It's the country's number one priority. It's my number one priority up and down the country, and that will be our focus.
He's gripping it. Simon says, I think the biggest message from the Rochdale by-election is the fact that only 8% of the electorate voted for Labour or Conservative and 2 independents were first and second. When will we realise that proportional representation is he says proportional reputation is the way ahead? I believe he does mean proportional representation is the way ahead. Well, the thing that struck me was how few people went out and voted at all. And what a tiny number of the electorate actually have chosen their MP. Hey, people, wake up. It's later than you think. But the front page of the Express, this is great. Cruella Braverman warns current immigration levels cannot go on or Britain will become unrecognisable. The former Home Secretary declared that we don't have enough homes, GPs or schools to support the 1.4 million people who were granted visas last year. And she criticised the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, for failing to prevent this national disaster. Official figures yesterday showed record numbers of foreign workers arrived last year. 616,371 visas were issued. That's up from 421,565 in 2022. The number of overseas employees receiving a health and social care visa also skyrocketed. Ms. Braverman, who was sacked last November, has blasted the government's record on cutting migration, warning 1.4 million people were granted visa here last autumn. Asylum approvals are, and then it says turn to page 4. And I am absolutely not going to do that. I don't want to, and she can't make me. She said, we don't have enough homes, GPs or schools to support the 1.4 million people who were granted visas last year. And she criticised the Prime Minister for failing to prevent this national disaster. Can you imagine her stunned surprise when she realises that she was in charge of immigration for almost the entirety of last year. I mean, it's just staggering, isn't it? I would like to complain about myself. Why isn't anybody doing anything about me? She said. No wonder we're in trouble.
Nick Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
This is preposterous!
0345 6060 973. Pauline texts, if you don't play the TV clip of Sam Coates interviewing Galloway, I'll be very disappointed. Your listeners deserve to hear it. It's got to be up there with anything that Trump says. And I thought, Sam Coates, rings a bell. Who's Sam Coates? So I looked Sam Coates up on the World Wide Wait in the break just now, and all I got was pictures of Coates. That's true. Try it yourself. If you Google, other search engines are available, but nobody ever uses them. Google Sam Coates, all you get is pictures of Coates. With faux fur collars, by the way. Does Sam Coates have a faux fur collar? Somebody should look into that. 0345 6060 973. Let's have East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hiya, Nick, yeah. Yeah, 2 or 3 bits around the Rochdale thing, really. I mean, Sunak's little speech tonight, I mean, you could paraphrase that by saying, I gave you a lot on election, and you voted wrong.
Yes. Incorrect.
No, I might not be minded to give you an election next time.
That's right.
And you challenge me, peasant. I mean, we're getting into that territory now.
Yeah, you voted for the wrong person.
But I mean, the other couple of bits about it was everyone was saying, why did you rush it out at tea time tonight? Well, I can tell you that. Because what he said tonight was a diluted rehash of what Farage has been shouting all week on GV News. So he's trying to deflect the Reform Party. And the other thing is Farage isn't on air till Monday, so he won't get hammered by Farage till Monday. That's why they've banged it out now.
Absolutely nobody. I can't believe that Titchy suit size is remotely interested in what Farage says on TV. Why would he? Hardly anybody's watching that.
Well, he does it consistently, though. I watch Farage on the Know Your Enemy principle.
Why? Why would you dip yourself into that misery? Seriously, I mean, for how long a period do you watch? Do you just dip in and out, or do you watch it right from the beginning to the end?
No, I dip in and out because some of the topics are not controversial, and it's like when you get into debanking, I ignore all that stuff. But I'll tell you one of the reasons why, Nick. The area I live in voted just about 2-1 for Brexit.
Yeah.
So I mixed with a lot of Brexiters, and when you meet them, they say, I've got a reason why Brexit's working, and off they go. And what they're doing is parroting.
Yes. Well, that's right. Yeah.
So if I watch it, I then go, right, got all the arguments, and they come out with this stuff and then wonder why they get destroyed. But that's one of the reasons I do it. But other little bit of...
So you just arm yourself knowing what they're going to say so you can fire back at them.
Exactly.
Have you not thought about just, immersing yourself in more pleasant things? You know, like the nice things in life, bit of art or a comedy or, something that would actually improve your life rather than keep you in a cesspit of winding misery?
Well, I never bring it up, but
no, but you're itching for them to bring it up, though, aren't you? Yes.
No, not really. I'm happy if they don't, but if they do,
you give them a metaphorical slap.
I can't back off from it, I'm afraid, on that one bit. Going back onto Rochdale.
Hang on a minute before you go on to that. I'd have to say that this is probably not good for your health. You know? Yes, I think I'm probably right about that, because if you just keep dipping yourself in this mire, then it's going to affect every single fibre of your being. All of the little molecules in your body are agitated all the time. Why don't you just, relax your mind and float downstream? every now and again.
I guess I could do. But,
yeah.
But question for you, who was the only party leader to attend the declaration at Rochdale?
Tice.
That's right, yeah. He must have been expecting some sort of a triumph.
Yeah, and then he went on about, it's got huge voter fraud. It's huge. This is a scam. It totally lost all of our votes. He did a full Trump, didn't he?
He did. He went full Trump on it, and I'm thinking, I don't believe what's happening here. We really are. It's like, what would Donald Trump do, as you keep saying?
Yeah,
but
I do.
Now.
I do keep saying that. What would Donald Trump do? And it's usually the worst thing in any given situation.
Don't be rude.
It's true.
Yeah. So when we lose, it's
a scam. It's a fix. Yeah. And Donald Trump is still saying that, by the way. He's still going on TV. He went on Fox News just the other day and was talking to Brett Bayer, I think, who was not one of the because Fox News is half commentary, mostly, and half of it is news, straight-ish news. And Brett Bayer is on the news side. And Donald Trump was sitting there saying, you know, I won the last election by a lot. And Brett Bayer wouldn't let him get away with anything. And Trump couldn't quite compute that he was being fact-checked in real time on Fox News. But seriously, we need a lot more of that.
I certainly do. I mean, it is difficult, and I understand for presenters, they get blitzed with facts.
Yeah.
You can't have them all at your fingertips.
Exactly. Particularly if they make things up. You can't dispute something that they just made up because it's the first time you've heard it.
Yeah, I mean, it is hilarious when they just happen to drop on something that an interviewer has researched.
Yeah.
Because they just dismantle them instantly.
Yes.
And
well, for the perfect example of that, one of my favourite, if not my favourite, interview of all time was our very own James O'Brien, who dismantled Nigel Farage into his individual molecule parts and left him a pulsating wreck on the floor of the studio. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I saw that. Have you seen the back images of that? Because Farage's advice team are trying to get him to stop. And he wouldn't stop.
Yeah, no, don't do it, Nigel. It ain't worth it.
They could see he was getting destroyed and he wouldn't give in.
Yeah. He did pretty much the same kind of job on Smug as well.
My view.
Yeah, and it wasn't quite as delightful. Quite as delicious, but that is because Smug is... He's got this faux politeness thing going on. He uses politeness and religion, by the way, as a weapon. And so he sort of backs you into a corner in insisting on, being pedantic about this or that title or a way of phrasing a question or something like that, and tries to beat you on what you didn't say, tries to swerve you onto some other topic, or, accuses you of being impolite or some other impropriety, and tries to beat you on that too, which is a neat trick if you can pull it off. But James O'Brien was not to be beaten. Good for him.
No, indeed. Ferrari had a moment this week, didn't he? I thought he was rather good.
Excellent. Yes, superb. I must have watched that about 10 times. It was terrific, yeah. So it was like a 1-2 punch. Nick Ferrari and then James O'Brien on this show, on this station every day. Yeah, it's good to be here. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, Mike. Ta-da, 0345 6060 973. Just tune into the Disney Channel once in a while, Mike. Watch yourself a little cartoon. Have a chuckle, why not? Get your head out this bucket of misery that you immerse yourself in on a regular basis. It's more than a bucket, it's like a barrel. He just dips himself in it 24 hours a day. Just try something else. Try something that will make you happy. Give it a go and report back. Neil says, been listening to you for many years. I can safely assume that you have been listening to UK 2024 Eurovision entry numerous times today. What did you think? It's by Ollie Alexander, brackets, no, me neither. No, me neither. I have no idea what you're talking about. The Eurovision song, is that Europe? Europe? We're not still doing that, are we? No, I can't. I cannot express in words. Well, I'll do that old Fraser line. You know, in Oxford University, they have an electron microscope that can look into the inside of an atom and see the smallest particles known to man. And even with that instrument, you would not be able to detect my interest in that subject. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Nobody.
What's he got to be depressed about?
About Keir Starmer, who has been warned that he is facing his worst nightmare after his Gaza problems have got 100 times more serious today, after the Cat in the Hat, George Galloway, stormed home in the Rochdale by-election. Some of the good people of Rochdale are furious that happened, by the way, but I do believe that the turnout was less than 40%. So they got what they didn't vote for. The Hat emerged victorious in the normally safe Labour seat after one of the most chaotic contests in recent history. And you could hear the chaos coming down the phone to me last night on my show last night. I went over to our reporter on the scene, Henry Riley, who secured an interview with the Monster Raving Loony Party. I'll sum up how that went. The Labour Party were forced to disown its own candidate over things he said which he shouldn't ought to. And the Greenies disowned their candidate for saying things that he shouldn't ought to. And the Monster Raving Loony Party might have come last, but this whole thing was a Monster Raving Loony contest. So in essence, they won. Ellie Reeves, Labour's Deputy National Campaign Coordinator, apologised. She said,
I am very sorry that I screwed up.
Totally screwed up.
I mean, I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am.
He's sorry.
I'm sorry.
And she's sorry. She insisted that Skier would not be shifting position on... Why do we have to say sir every time? I mean, what's that about? It's not... They don't insist. Well, some do. But it's not a requirement, is it? That we say sir every time, or lady this, or lord the other. Why do we do it? Why do we insist on genuflecting before them? I mean, I know why the right-wing press say Sir Keir every time they mention him, is because they want to impress in the minds of the general public that he's a posho. You know, as opposed to the people that have been running us this last 14 years, like...
The great big greedy nincompoop.
Yeah, like the great big greedy nincompoop. So they want to make it seem like Labour is the party of the rich, but calling him Sir Keir. It's just so silly, isn't it? OK, so he got a badge and a funny title. Do we have to mention it every blooming time we mention his name? Sir Keir. Can we just call him Starmer? Nobody calls me Mr. Nick. Why doesn't anybody call me Mr. Nick? Damn it! Ellie Reeves, Labour's Deputy National Campaign Coordinator... No offence, Ellie Reeves, but you should get fired. I mean, and I mean that the nicest possible way, but, wasn't a great success. I don't think you can chalk that down as... put that in your greatest hits compilation. Ellie Reeves, I'm sure she's excellent in every regard. She just hasn't been, given enough of a go at it. Better luck next time. Ellie Reeves, Labour's Deputy National Campaign Coordinator, insisted that Sir Keir would not be shifting position on Gaza, pointing out that he already moved to his position on the war, to saying that it really is awful and something should be done, which was a big move from his previous position, was that it really is terrible and doing something will be awful. He's moved. Mr. Hat, the Cheshire Cat, will return to Westminster after a 9-year absence as a representative of a third different political party, the Workers' Party of Britain, having previously been both a Labour and Respect MP. He has loyally served 3 different political parties and, by the way, 4 different wives. The man must be exhausted from all that loyalty. The father of 6...
What?
won 12,335 votes in a by-election, which was just under 40% of the vote of the share on a 40% turnout. So, in effect, he won the approval of 16% of the electorate. 1-6. 16% of the electorate approves of their new PM. Like I said before, hey, wake up, sheeple. It's later than you think. He won the approval of 16% of the electorate. And when the majority stay at home and do nothing, then you get represented by what a minority want. Who knows what might have happened if everyone had been forced to vote under threat of punishment? Same thing as Brexit, by the way. The single-issue obsessives went out and voted in the referendum. I don't know that this is true, but it doesn't prevent it from being a fact. 100% of those people who wanted to leave the European Union went out and voted. But those people who were okay with the status quo, who weren't that bothered, who had other things on their minds, who weren't obsessed about Europe, they didn't vote in as great a number, and so they lost. So the cat got 12,335 votes. Second was another independent, someone who actually lives in Rochdale, if you can believe that. David Tully, who won 6,638 votes, which was 21%. And the ex-Labour man, Azhar Ali, he was fourth. And the Monster Raving Loony Party failed in their bid to get 0 votes, which must have been crushing for them. The representative Loony said... Galloway used his speech to wear his hat just so, and he said he wanted to put the town councillors on notice that he intends to clean the town hall clock.
What?
He actually said that. Yeah, I know. I was kind of taken back by that myself. I'm putting the councillors on notice that we're going to clean the town hall clock, he said. And he attacked Skier over his stance on what's happening in Gaza, and then he was barracked for being a climate change denier. And, by the way, a known leotard wearer with feline tendencies. I think it's great that we've turned a corner in this country from the clown show antics of Mr. Blobby, don't you?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
You know The Guardian? Boo! Yeah, that's them. They summed up his previous record in Parliament like this. So what can Rochdale expect from the new MP? Not a lot of work inside Parliament, if Galloway's track record is anything to go by. In 3 years as Bradford West's MP, he spoke just 16 times in the House of Commons, sometimes going for 6 months or more without saying a word in the debating chamber. He did find time to make programmes for Russia Today and Al Mayadeen TV, topping up his MP's salary by $12,400 a month. Wow. His globe-trotting was relentless, taking time out from his duties in Bradford and Westminster to campaign for Hugo Chavez in Venezuela and to attend events all over the world. When he did speak in Parliament, it was usually about foreign affairs or to insult other MPs, once responding to an intervention from a Tory MP by saying, "I would much prefer to give way to the honourable gentleman than for him to cackle and wobble his ample girth from a sedentary position." George Galloway is an expert in ample girths. That is a fat cat. But we're all fat cats now. 1 in 8 people on Earth are obese. Do you read that? 1 in 8. 1 billion people. It's amazing that this planet hasn't sunk yet. So, you know, you could chuck that, the ample girth insult, into a crowd and be pretty certain to hit somebody that fits the bill. 0345 6060 973. Gold is green. John.
Hi.
Is there anybody out there? Yes, John.
Yeah, my name's John.
Is it? Can I call you John?
Yeah, it certainly can.
Yes, John.
Yeah, well, I love that listening. You ridiculing
who?
The man who's just been voted in.
Who is it? What's the name of the person?
The man who's voted in.
Oh, I'm sorry, you failed that test. 0345 6060 973. I just spent the last 15 minutes talking about him, and he can't remember the name of the man that he presumably was calling me up to berate me for insulting. It wasn't insulting necessarily, it was more like a gentle dig. I mean, it wasn't as insulting as calling him, wobbling and had an ample girth and all the rest of it. I can't remember what it is now. I've already thrown that piece of paper away. He's still on the board, waiting to speak. You have delighted us enough, John, if that is indeed your name. 0345 6060 973. Believe it or not, that is the only call I've got on this board. What the hell? Look at that board. It's like tumbleweeds are blowing through it. Are you not entertained? Cath Tech, I've got no end of texts and messages and so on. I mean, good grief, look at all that. I think that generally, phone as time ticks on, phone-ins are in trouble because people just don't use their phone to phone anymore, do they? I mean, in real life, people just don't call each other anymore. They just waggle their thumbs at their phones and text message instead. So a conversation that could have been dealt with and dusted in about 30 seconds takes all night long. And your phone is constantly going bing as somebody responds to the thing that you thought was the end of the conversation that you sent 5 minutes ago. I hate that. I mean, I genuinely do absolutely hate those extended long text conversations because it's just so annoying. You think you've said the final word on the matter and then your phone is pinging at you all night long with whatever the other side have thought next. If you just call somebody and speak with your mouth, not your thumbs, then you'll be able to get over all the information you need in a toot sweet time. But I think that generally the whole concept of the phone-in is in trouble. I probably shouldn't be saying that out loud, but it does occur to me that people don't use their phones to call anymore, to the point that if somebody is going to call you, I bet this is not I bet I'm not the only person this has happened to. If somebody's going to call you, they text you first to tell you that they're going to call you, because otherwise you might freak out. As a friend of mine did a while ago. So I called him up because I just thought, I can't be doing this texting thing. And he answered the phone like I was going to tell him that somebody we know had died. Why are you calling me? Come on, people, let's get back to conversing with our mouth holes. Why don't we? Give it a go. You never know, it might work.
Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Thank you for holding. Your call's important to us.
Yeah, look at it now. I've got about 86 million calls who are waiting for me to speak to them now. Why can't these people just leave me alone? How do they get my number? Kensington, Hassan.
Hi, Nick. Nick, I have been watching the by-election results.
Yes.
And I heard something quite funny where the winner, George Galloway, said that Sunak and Starmer are two cheeks of the same backside.
Yeah.
And he was going to spank them.
Right.
Which I thought was rather extreme.
Two cheeks of the same backside, and he's stuck in the middle.
And then, but I think if you look at the results, I think it's quite remarkable because he got more votes than all the other parties except for an independent who came from nowhere and managed to get number 2 spot with 20% share.
That's not entirely accurate, Hassan. He didn't come from nowhere. He came from Rochdale.
Yes.
What a revolutionary concept. A man came from the area in which he wants to represent and did relatively well at the ballot box.
No, absolutely. And then I think Galloway then used his sort of victory speech to savage Starmer in an aggressive manner, and obviously Starmer's best friend Rishi Sunak jumped in to defend him.
Are they bezies? I didn't know that.
Yes. And so I think Rishi spent a lot of time today, went outside Downing Street, put out the lectern and talked about how dangerous Galloway is.
Yeah, put out a lectern, stood on the box behind it.
Yeah, exactly. And then Galloway then sort of said, I'm not worried of little Rishi. And when he was asked whether he respects the Prime Minister, he ended up saying, respect? I despise him.
He said, respect, like Aretha Franklin sang, RPSE TCP. Yeah, no, he said.
And this is even before he's shown up at Parliament. So I think this would be lots of fun and games. And so I've got the popcorn ready, and I'm looking for... I'm going to cancel my Netflix subscription and just keep watching BBC Parliament.
Yeah. Good idea. Okay, excellent work. Thanks a lot, Hassan. Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen on Wednesday, whether he'll actually be selected to, make an intervention. Who knows? But I wouldn't get too comfortable if I were you, gorgeous George, because there's assuming that the general election is not cancelled for our safety, and anybody that says otherwise is going to go on a list, then, there's going to be another election there pretty soon. I would imagine that the turnout would be more than the desultory 39% odd that they got for that. But keep in mind that he only got 16% of the total electorate in that area. 16. So, we can say that this is a revolution, or it's, the most remarkable thing that has ever happened in politics, and people are hyperventilating about it just a little bit, I think. I mean, he's been an MP twice before, and what happened? What did he change exactly? Can you remember? Anyone? Anyone at all? 0345 6060 973. Kath texts, where's Rula Lenska when you need her? What's Rula got to do with it? Rula Lenska? What's that going to do with it? What's Rula Lenska got to do with it?
I don't know. I thought you would know.
I've got absolutely no idea. Who is Rula Lenska? I mean, the name rings a bell. Is she an actress? Or I'm going to look up Rula Lenska right now. One moment, please. Lenska. Rula Lenska. British actress. Rula Lenska is a British actress, mainly appears in British stage and TV productions, known in the uni... What does that mean? And then you've got to click for more further information. I don't want to, and you can't make me. What?
So, lots of people called George Galloway the cat because of that video from Big Brother. It was her hands.
Right.
It was her hands.
Right, got it. Yeah, they were on that stupid TV show together. People, if you stop watching those stupid TV shows, they will stop making them. I promise you that's true. I guarantee it. Anyway, Kath texts, where's Rula Lenska when you need her? Nick, I've loved you being on all week. It was like Jesus' birthday. Just without the lovely Jan from York's long list of dead people and that brilliant German bloke. Yeah, that brilliant German bloke. He only ever calls during the A to Z. I can't remember what he came up with this year, but the year before he came up with ChatGPT, which I had never heard of. And has been, barely out of the news ever since. Yeah, he is brilliant. Those shows, by the way, the A to Z of 2023, they're still available as podcasts because we put the Friday and the Saturday night shows and the A to Z of the previous year on the internet as podcasts. So they never go. The Listen Again shows, I mean, you can listen again to all of our shows, but we only have so much room on the internet. And we've hired a room in the internet. We can only fit so much in there. But the podcasts, they're up there forever. So you can still hear those A to Z shows. And that brilliant German bloke is in among them. Some of my favourite calls of the year. And it's called Nick Abbot The Whole Show Podcast, by the way. And that we did that with the Friday and Saturday night shows too. The idea is we take the news and most of the ads out, mostly, which means it takes less time to listen to, which will free you up to investigate that whole Rula Lenska issue. 0345 6060 973. Greenwich, Lucy.
Hello, Mr. Nick.
Lucy.
I thought I'd give you a ring because you were whinging and whining and moaning.
Who,
about
me?
people not calling.
That's
Yes,
absolutely not true.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
So I thought I'd ring up and answer Rose's question. Was it Rose about leap year birthdays?
Oh, yeah.
So I know two people with leap year birthdays.
So what do they do?
Well, they generally celebrate it the day before, on the 28th.
The day before?
Yeah, they don't wait until the 1st of March. And when it is actually a leap year, well, I rang one yesterday to wish her a happy birthday. She's quite elderly. She said she was 21 today.
See, if it was my birthday on the 29th, I wouldn't do it on the 28th because it's not... The 28th is absolutely not my birthday, but the day after the 28th would be.
Yeah, I suppose being short of real birthdays, it's almost like they can't wait.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, if you're 80, 90 years old, then that extra day might be, a deciding factor. So you want to get them in as soon as you possibly can, that's right. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, Lucy. 0345 6060 973. Will says, things have gone from bad to downright naughty for Wishy Sunak, and he's drawn a line in the sand with his size 5 feet inside his size 10 shoes. Well, that's just offensive. David says, in these difficult economic times, the Conservative government spent, is that 2 million? £2,607,767.67 to refit the briefing room in Downing Street. So why does Rishi have to stand outside? Yeah, they did, didn't they? They got a media briefing room, like America does. And I don't know the precise amount, but I'm going to take that as read, that it was £2,607,776.67. to refit the blooming briefing room in Downing Street, if you can believe it. Just so Bodger would have room to hyperventilate,
The great big greedy nincompoop.
Yes, that nincompoop. And then they didn't blooming well use it.
What?
Yeah, exactly. And then they harp on about how they're concerned about wasting the public's money. Yeah, that's right. Sure they are. Sure they are. Huddersfield. Hello, David.
Good evening.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Nick. Now then, I think you've been a bit unkind to Mr. Gallifrey because he wears... I think that's his name, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think he was... it's just a little joke here. He wears a hat to audition for Doctor Who and he's disappointed that he didn't get it, so he's gone back into politics. But my secondary point...
Why does he wear a hat indoors? I mean, who wears a hat indoors? I've seen him sitting in a radio studio with a hat on. I mean, we know what the top of your head looks like. We have seen pictures of it. It's not a secret. Just own it, Mr. Galloway.
Galloway. They used to say, if you want to get ahead, wear a hat.
Yes.
Maybe that's why. But I did hear that he'd had a head injury and that he covered it up for a while, so he might be self-conscious. I know he don't look like a self-conscious person.
No, he doesn't.
Now, going back to Rula Lenska, this is what you said. You said, who the hell, more or less, who the heck, I should say, is Rula Lenska?
Well, I didn't quite put it like that. I just didn't know what she had to do with this issue, but then I remember that show that I didn't watch. Yeah.
I know. She tried to launch a career in America with a campaign that was, who the hell is Rula Lenska?
Really?
Can you believe it?
Is that true?
Anyway...
No, that's not true. That's just something you made up.
Check it.
I'll do nothing of the sort.
Do some homework for once. So anyway, do you think the Tories are trying to lose the next general election?
Maybe that's their plan.
We have a plan.
Yeah, maybe that is their plan.
He says he's got a plan. I wonder if his plan might be to lose the next general election. Is there an echo? What do you think? Is it realistically possible to swing the pendulum backwards, back into the sort of middle ground, which Starmer has vacated to go slightly to the right?
Yeah, no, I cannot see it. And I don't know what's in the mind of the Tories at the moment, because the ones that need the money must be freaking out. I mean, Titchy doesn't need the money. Makes you wonder why he's doing this this piddlingly small paid job in the first place. Curious, ain't it? But let's not contemplate that for too long, because the potential answers are just too awful to contemplate. But I think that those MPs that have got used to their six-figure salary and their £250,000 expenses and their subsidised everything, they are freaking out, because how are they going to recreate that in the real world?
Well, won't they just form a TV company?
They can't all be on that TV station, and I think that it's quite possible that the other reason that they're freaking out is that the only reason I suspect that many of them have columns in papers and TV gigs is because they're MPs, not because they're fascinating and marvellous people. And so once their platform as an MP goes, so goes the jobs on the media.
To be fair, I never yawn when they're on. Do you?
I could not bear to dip myself into that
I never
whole
watch
situation.
it. I never watch any of that. I only look forward to you on a Friday night and Saturday night, Nick.
Well, I appreciate that, David. Thanks very much.
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbot. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Are you trying to tell me that this is your act?
OK, so I looked it up in the break, and that man was completely correct in every respect. This is from a website called, what is it? The Doctor Who Guide. Was she in Doctor Who? Don't ask me. I've got no idea. I've never watched Doctor Who. It's the silliest programme in the world. Adults should not be watching Doctor Who. That's just a fact. But it says, on the subject of Rula Lenska, it says, Rock Follies. Yeah, she was in Rock Follies. I remember that. Rock Follies was not widely seen in North America, but in the late 1970s and early 1980s, Rula Lenska became famous in the United States and Canada for her Alberto VO5 shampoo products commercials. The commercial began with a close-up of her stating, "I'm Rula Lenska." People assumed this was a product endorsement by a celebrity whose name that the advertisers expected them to know, although in North America, Rula Lenska was virtually unknown prior to this ad campaign. And in a Tonight Show monologue that aired after the commercials, Johnny Carson asked, "Who the hell is who the hell is Rula Lenska?" Which became a running joke on his show. Excellent question. Who the hell is Rula Lenska? Hello, I'm Rula Lenska. 0345 6060 973. And I know that this doesn't have anything to do with what I just said, other than they're both titans of American entertainment. But I just saw the other night a concert by Frank Sinatra on the... You know the BBC? Yeah, that's them. It's on, I think for a limited period only. It might be on their catch-up thing on TV. I think he's playing the Royal Festival Hall or the Royal Albert Hall, one of them halls. And, wow, it is great. Frank Sinatra had quite a good voice. Did you know that? Educational, this show, no?
No.
0345 6060 973. Chingford, hello, Tony.
Hello, mate. I think you might be right about they're going to say it's too dangerous for a new election. And I was listening to Rishi earlier, scratching my head, wondering what's his motivation. And then I thought of you. I thought, this is him trying to, roll out it's too dangerous for us to go for an election right now.
Yes.
He's going to start saying that. I mean, what is wrong with, protesting? That is what you do in a democracy. And he's trying to say that because we can protest, then it can't be democracy anymore. It's the opposite of that.
It's really bizarre that they've just had a free and fair election, and because he didn't like the result, then it's a threat to democracy. I mean, the leader of Russia wouldn't come out with anything that comical.
I know. I mean, it's like he was always going on about the Frenchmen able to protest, at the drop of the hat, but we don't protest enough. And now, I don't know. It's scary. And I was trying to think of his motivation earlier, and it's just halfway through it, I thought, Nick will know what's going on.
Yeah.
This will be the one.
Well, I do believe that it might quite possibly be all about the money, honey.
Yeah, it could be. But, I mean, it's very... it's just...
I know. You're just virtually speechless, Tony. You're very, very upset. You're irate. Take a deep breath. Hold it, and relax. Right. There you go. He's achieved a state of nirvana. Clive texts, I went to Blackpool once, but it was shut. that old one. I went to Blackpool once, and it was most certainly open and was totally infested by grown-ups wandering around in babies' diapers with dummies in their mouths. I'm not making that up. I mean, presumably that it wasn't what Suella Braverman might call a lifestyle choice. So I imagine that this was for a special occasion, like one of their ilk was getting married. But it did look bizarre, because after a while, you wear a fancy dress uniform, even if it is a baby's nappy with a dummy in your mouth. After a while of just wandering around, looking at postcards and having beers, then it doesn't strike you as weird anymore. You just get used to what you're wearing, right? And so it just seemed utterly weird that crowds of these blokes, these great lumbering blokes in babies' nappies with dummies in their mouths, would just be acting as though nothing was abnormal about their appearance. That's my memory of Blackpool. Oh, and, by the way, if you're going to Blackpool, this is excellent advice, take sandwiches. Yeah, on no account eat anything in Blackpool. I think that is probably excellent advice. You're welcome.
Thank you.
0345 6060 973. I ate something in Blackpool, and it was a fish place. And I went in, and the menu, I am not making this up, every single item on the menu came with stir-fry. Everything. Fish and chips and stir-fry. Pies and peas and stir-fry. Everything came with stir-fry. And the stir-fry, I don't know, maybe the menu got lost in translation, but they deep-fried the stir-fry and then put it onto the plate with a ladle. So it was like soup. It was what was on the plate was literally swimming in a lake of oil with little dots of what I assume were chopped up vegetables in there. And the waitress she looked delighted with herself to have brought it to the table without spilling it. And assumed that, I guess, because every other customer didn't see anything wrong with it, that there was, in fact, nothing wrong with it. And to her disappointment, I asked her to... I said, can you drain this for me? So, sandwiches, kids, remember that, always. 0345 6060 973. St Albans, hello, Kerry.
Hello, Nick Abbott. How
Kerry,
are you?
I am super, thanks for asking.
So you were talking about Rula Lenska. My auntie Dawn, who absolutely adores you, by the way, she was 80 yesterday. She
80?
Used to hang out with, yeah. Happy birthday. She used to hang out with Rula Lenska in Cricklewood and Willesden Green in like the 60s and 70s.
Is that right?
Yes. They used to have very raucous parties, apparently.
I bet they did.
She's cool.
Yeah, well...
Do you want to hear her impersonation of her?
You sound a little bit like her yourself. I mean, you've got that sort of raspy... no, it's a long, long time since I saw Rock Follies, but did she not have a bit of a rasp to her voice?
I think it's to do with... Dawn just said yes. It's to do with smoking too much.
Oh, right, smoke too much,
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Do you want to hear Dawn? Do you want to hear Dawn's impersonation of her mate Rula?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Hang on, let's put her on. Ready, Dawn? Hello.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, that was it.
Brief and to the point.
Hello.
Yeah, all right. Excellent work. Thanks a lot, Kerry. 0345 6060 973. Lee texts, do we have an island mentality? Easily brainwashed. You know, I keep thinking of Gulliver's Travels and the Lilliputians. Shall I read that again?
No.
Okay, then. Who's been waiting the longest? One moment, please. Carnforth. Hey, Penny.
Hey, Nick. You all right?
I am great, mate.
Good, good. I just wanted to ring up and say something about that Rishi Sunak, saying that it was beyond alarming that George Galloway been elected. And I was thinking, well, actually, what's beyond alarming was that weird, rather sinister speech she's just made today, which was all over the place, but was basically trying to create a moral panic about extremists, in inverted commas, when actually a lot of the extremists are in his cabinet.
Yes.
You know, like Suella Braverman and Liz Truss as well, hanging out.
They either are or used to be in his cabinet.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, Liz Truss was hanging out with Steve Bannon the other week, and goodness knows who. And I saw a bit of a clip of that, and there was one guy at that convention who was saying something about, you know, we really nearly got rid of democracy last time. He said, but, you know, we won't miss next time.
Yes.
Talking about the 6th of January, and I was thinking,
I know.
What is she doing with these lunatics?
Well, I think she feels right at home.
Yes, I think she does. I think she's just going more and more to the right until she'll fall off the planet. But yeah, Suella Braverman as well. I mean, a lot of that speech was culture war stuff, wasn't it? Which is all they've got left now, really, isn't it?
Well, we know that that's what they're going to fight the next election on because they've said it out loud. They keep saying the quiet part out loud, just like Donald Trump does. Gerry Anderson said the next election is going to get fought on culture wars and trans rights.
Yes, because there's nothing else. They can't fight it on anything else because they can't talk about the NHS because they've more or less destroyed it. They can't talk about law and order because that's in a terrible mess due to them. They can't really talk about anything because they've just messed everything up.
Everything.
Yes.
Literally everything. I mean, I cannot remember the amount of times on this show when I've asked people what has improved in the last 14 years. One single solitary thing. I'll make it really easy for you. Give me one thing that has improved that is better now than it was before the Tories took power, and I haven't had a single solitary answer.
No, that's right, because there is absolutely nothing. This country is barely recognisable, and
that's true.
The fact that they're now trying to make it even harder to protest because they were talking about that you're going to have to give 2 weeks' notice, so nobody can do a sort of, immediate sort of protest that you might need to do for some particular circumstance. You're going to have to give 2 weeks' notice now.
Yes. I'm not entirely... I don't think that's entirely bad because the police do need to get their act in order and, make sure that they've got the officers where they need them to be and so on. So it's not... I'm a bit conflicted about that part, but to say that certain people should not be able to protest based on what they're protesting about or how much they have protested, we've heard you... you don't need to keep saying it. You've made your point. Now stay at home. I mean, that's an absolute outrage.
It is absolutely. Just shut up now because we have heard you, but we're going to take no notice of you whatsoever. So you might as well not waste your breath or, cross the streets of London up.
There can't be a single solitary thing that has improved the lives of people in this country that they had to protest about that took one protest or a certain amount before the government says, right, OK, that's the end of that now. Without actually doing anything to move towards what the people who are doing the protesting want.
No, they just... I think they just don't like people protesting full stop, but, they especially don't like this because they're really out of step with the rest of the world now, them and our government and the US. Even Macron came out and really... was quite outspoken in Europe about this massacre yesterday, wasn't it? And in the Security Council, there was only the US and us that didn't vote for a ceasefire. So we're right out on a limb now and looking totally ridiculous, just looking like the lapdogs that the British government is to America. And Keir Starmer's just as bad because he's not really... I mean, he's slightly moved...
A bit,
A bit, just because he's a bit worried about, Muslims not voting for him.
I wonder if he's rigid... I wonder if he's rigid with fear at losing the enormous lead that he has got. Because if he does not win the next election, it will probably be the greatest loss of a lead in the history of politics. I think that's probably what what keeps him up at night, the thought of losing from this winning position. So he seems to be too timid to say anything about any issue, never mind about this one.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's far too cautious. And, I mean, with this one, he's out of step with the people of the country, because most people in the country want a ceasefire. More than 2/3 of the people in this country want a ceasefire. And it gets worse, and so even more people are going to be appalled by it.
Right, but we must not get fooled to go down the route of, oh, well, they're all the same, so there's no point in me voting, because that is precisely what the regime would want, because they're being the incumbents, it comes with benefits, and so it would improve their prospects if more people stayed at home. So everybody must go out, even if you're not utterly delighted with the choices available. And the same is true in America. If you don't, then you will get run by extremists, as was the case with Brexit. That's why we left, is because single-issue obsessives went out in greater numbers than those who thought that things were rubbing along just fine.
Definitely, but I think that's why what just happened in Rochdale happened, because, George Galloway, and then the second most votes, who had, half as many as George Galloway, was an independent. Yeah. And the two main parties, it's like nobody wanted to vote for them.
Right, but the turnout was pretty weak. And keep in mind, George Galloway won 16% of the potential electorate's votes. 16. That's not that much. Let's not get carried away.
But I mean, by-elections, that was about an average turnout for a by-election.
Right.
People just don't bother turning out for by-elections. And there were all those very odd circumstances altogether.
Yeah.
But I still think there is a bit of a feeling, I hear it a lot on the radio. People say, oh, well, they're all the same.
Yeah, okay.
There is that feeling around, isn't there?
Okay, well, wake up, people.
Yeah.
They aren't. And he got to go.
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbot. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
Lynn in Lancaster says, regarding the guy from Blackpool, Blackpool is not in Lancaster. Blackpool is in the county of Lancashire. Lancaster is a city 48 miles from Blackpool. Well, Lynn, if only there was a way to prove that. Lucy says, I've been learning about the ancient Egyptian god Min, who was represented by a lettuce. I think I've identified the deep state actor that brought Liz Truss down.
That is a disgrace.
Folkestone. Hello, Nick.
Friday night when I've been off the pitch all fucking week.
Are you speaking? Are you talking to me? Nick, it sounds like you're speaking to us from a submarine. Can you surf this anytime soon? Hello?
That's it. Hello, Nick.
Does your phone come with instructions? Take us off speakerphone. We'll be back with Nick just as soon as possible. In like a couple of hours would be good, when I'm not here. 0345 6060 973. Sam Batch. Hello, John.
I can't stop laughing after watching this going on the radio then.
Which station are you listening to?
You tried to talk to me with deep sea diving.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people who can't text and do all that, so I'm phoning in.
Good man. Yeah, no texting, more phoning. Exactly. Yeah, it's a phone-in show, not a texting-in show. You wouldn't believe the amount of texts and messages I've got to get through. It's like pages and pages and pages of them. I'll never finish that.
No, it's easy. You just pick the phone up and call in.
Isn't it? Yes. Yeah. Use your mouth, not your fingers.
Yeah. I mean, wasn't the last time they used the briefing room in the new in Downing Street was when they took the mickey out of everybody over COVID parties, and they were all falling about laughing because you're going to tell everybody a lie.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, how can we spin this, she said, and then they all guffawed.
Yeah. What a joke.
Right.
And,
how can we make what looked like a disco into a business meeting?
Yeah.
They're having a party.
And what was the point of Sunak coming out on the outside of the Ben Downing Street?
I don't know.
I don't get that.
No.
I mean, funnily enough, it ended up on the front pages of every Sunday paper. So it was a fix, wasn't it?
Every Sunday paper, every Saturday paper, surely. Friday, Saturday? Have you seen the papers already?
Saturday paper, right. Yeah. I'm not clairvoyant. I thought he could send his lapdog out in the morning and appear on telly and say exactly the same thing, which was a load of nonsense anyway.
Yes, very, very strange. I don't really quite get it. What I don't get about him is why he's so desperately keen to keep a job that he's so apparently unsuited for. I mean, he's just not very good at his job. I mean, as much as I dislike the man and every single solitary fibre of his being, Bodger was actually good at that job.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Which was that he could, bloviate for Britain, and he could just, sort of blast through with his paw routine. But Sunak hasn't got that. It's this whiny little... I mean, the way he sounds is painful to the ear, apart from anything else. And he can't do people at all. It's like he's never met a human every time he interacts with one of us.
It's Truss laying the groundwork for him after he's been kicked out of the watches, so he can go on the same circuit saying, I used to be Prime Minister.
Right, good by comparison with Liz Truss.
Absolutely.
That's not very, it doesn't really recommend him, on that basis.
He's luckier than her because he's got a green card anyway, so...
Well, he can do whatever he likes. It doesn't matter whether he's got a green card or not. He's got green money. Lots of it. That's accepted everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it was a joke that I just couldn't... 5:40 at night. Why?
Yeah, it's mystifying.
10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. I don't get it either. No.
Everybody was going home or going out or whatever, and he's got to stand there. He must have been the only one there.
Well, you saw him, John, so I guess he reached you, and maybe you alone. Yeah, why he did it? Why he did it? I just don't know. Okay, thanks a lot, John. Well, just add it to the things that mystify us about the current regime. About
this government.
Exactly. 0345 6060 973. If you want to WhatsApp us, it's the same number. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global. Leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
This is absolute tosh.
How are you?
I'm super, thanks for asking. I'm just looking up that story, which must be late breaking news about the reducing the tube fares on a Friday. No, reducing it to what? If it is it free? Off-peak, okay. Off-peak tube and rail fares. This is from a couple of days ago. Off-peak tube and rail fare trial to start on Fridays in London. Transport for London will lower off-peak fares on Fridays on the tube and rail services to try to tempt back passengers who have stayed at home since the pandemic lockdowns. Well, I think they're going to have to do a little bit better than that, aren't they? I mean, if people have decided that they would rather have a 3-day weekend or that they would prefer not to go into the office on a Friday and do their diligent work at home, then I think a slightly lower fare on the tube or the train isn't going to tempt them back in. I mean, I think you'd have to start handing out ice creams at the very least. London has a large number of service workers, says The Guardian, who are predominantly able to work from... Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Woo! That was the most satisfying sexual experience of my life. How was it for you? There must be something wrong with this booth that I am sitting in, because it makes me sneeze every time I come in here. What's that about? Hello? Is this thing on? At least I got that one out, because the absolute worst is when you think you're going to sneeze and you go and then it doesn't happen. That's the worst. I hate that. Whew, I think I need a little bit of a lie down and a cigarette. 0345 6060 973. What was I talking about? I've no idea. Oh, yeah, the thing on Friday. Yeah, I see. I don't know. I mean, I think people have got used to that. And if they can, maintain their work schedule, if they can do all the work that they would have done on a Friday, which, let's face it, most jobs, they could squeeze 5 days' work into 4. They could probably squeeze 5 days' work into 3 if you really went at it. But you don't. You waste time, you stare out the window, and you go and have a chit-chat around the coffee machine and all the rest of it. Most jobs. Oh, I'm going to go out and I'm going to say something controversial now.
Oh, no.
I suspect that many jobs, shall we say half of all jobs don't actually need to be done. Half of jobs of people working in offices, let's say, if you just randomly got rid of half of the people in that office, I bet that it wouldn't really impact the business in any way, shape or form. I bet that's probably true. I bet a lot of people are just doing non-jobs just because that's what they've slid into. But when you get to the end of the week, have you actually made a difference? And if the answer is no, then, and people have got used to being at home on a Friday, I would think, even if you halve the fare into work, it's not going to tempt them out. Why would it? I mean, it's still money, isn't it? It's still going to cost you something to go. Never mind about the actual time that it takes to get there. Anyway, 0345 6060 973. Here is a call in Heston. Isaac.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Isaac, good, thanks.
Right, 3 things.
Couple of 3 things.
First one, Rula Lenska. How do you pronounce the name?
No, Rula Lenska, not Lewinsky.
Okay, yeah. Rula Lenska, she was the wife of the late Dennis Waterman of Minder fame.
Right,
yeah,
I could be so good for you. Like that.
That's right, yeah. Also, number 2, I remember Joe 90. I grew up with Joe 90, Thunderbirds, Captain Scarlet, and Stingray.
The Mysterons. They were indestructible. No, Captain Scarlet was indestructible. The Mysterons. This is the voice of the Mysterons. Like that.
That's right.
Do you remember that one where... what?
Go on.
Do you remember that episode of Captain Scarlet? Was it Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons? I think it was.
Yes.
Do you remember that episode of Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons when Big Ben struck 13 times? Do you remember that?
No, I don't. But I'll look it up on YouTube.
Yes, it's probably on YouTube.
That's right. And also with all those programs I've just mentioned, right? They were created by British director and producer Gerry Anderson and his wife.
That's right. They shot it in Super Mario Nation.
That's right. And all the puppets had American accents.
Did they?
Yeah, they had American accents, yeah. So, and the third thing is...
thing number 3, yes, can you remember?
Yeah,
you're thinking...
Yeah, the
third thing.
What was I going to say?
Yes.
The third thing. Listen, what I'll do,
call me back
tomorrow and tell you the third thing, yeah?
Okay, I can't wait. You see me shiver in anticipation. Paul says, do you think it's possible that the Tories didn't vote at the end of the Gaza debate for the following reason? That the Speaker kept using the word apologise and therefore causing confusion as they did not understand what that meant. Therefore, exit stage left, best action to take, says Paul. Sorry seems to be the hardest word.
Rock and roll!
It's not hard at all. Just say it. Just say, I'm sorry.
I am very sorry that I screwed up.
Very sorry that I screwed up. they just won't do it. 0345 6060 973. Chertsey. Hello, Sandra.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Sandra.
I wasn't sure I was coming through because I just phoned your producer and I said, is it time we opened up the debate on texting? Because I hate it. And he said, right, and he disappeared off. So if I sound a bit stupid, I'll use that as an excuse. But getting back to George Galloway briefly, if you listen through the night with Clive Bull, he was interviewed by your reporter. I can't remember his exact name, but he, unqualified, he brought up about his hat. He said, I wear this because a few years ago, I've forgotten which year, he was attacked badly on his head, so he always keeps his hat on.
Oh.
That was definitely, he brought it up, obviously, he wasn't asked by the reporter. I mean, he wouldn't, would he? I noticed he was wearing a tie. I used to see him on Question Time. He didn't wear ties. I don't know if he mentioned the tie, but he very clearly spent several minutes discussing the attack and how badly his head was injured. So he keeps it on. And if you play it back, you will hear that, a couple of hours after.
Right.
Quick. So that's that. And I do agree with you about texting. It drives me mad. My best friend seems to love texting.
Yeah.
You can't qualify what you say. You can annoy people and upset people who get it wrong, and they might take 2 days to get back to you. Whereas if you say it quickly, you can say, "Oh, I didn't. No, of course, I didn't mean that."
Yes, and the other thing with texting is that if you ask them a question, they might have thought that the last missive that they sent was the end of the conversation. So they put their phone down in one room, perhaps, and they walked into another. And you're sitting there having just given them a witty riposte, waiting for their response, and comes there none. And so you think, oh. Well, hang on a minute. I just wrote the funniest thing that has ever been written by humankind, and you're not responding.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I spent years typing letters, Paul, and I was meticulous. I am on punctuation, spelling, and I don't bother with a text. I haven't got the patience, and I think kids and that don't worry about punctuation in a text, do they?
Yeah.
But my friend, the worst, I don't understand that. She texts, does it perhaps need a comma?
Yeah, exactly.
Put a comma anywhere you like.
And you don't get the right emphasis in a text either. It's very difficult to tell tone.
Oh, yeah, exactly. No, I've offended her so many. And at the speed I talk, I could say thousands of words
Yeah. That's right, Sandra. If you had been texting me what you've said already with the speed of the way that you talk, then we'd have been here all night long.
Yeah, well, I wish somebody else would phone in and say, I hate texting, don't you think?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, they can text the following address, 84850. Thanks a lot, Sandra. It's just too annoying. And like I said, I think it's an existential threat to a show like this because older people, they're used to speaking on the phone, using their mouths. But younger people just don't do it. I mean, they've got phones, all right. They can't put them away. Obsessed with them they are. But they do not use them for phoning anybody unless it's their mum. And then it will be in receipt of a phone call from their mum who is saying something of the order of, where are you? Your dinner's been on the table for 3 hours, stuff like that. Oh, Mum. So, get back used to using your face hole to communicate with, for crying out loud, because otherwise it will seal up, and then you'll be sorry. 0345 6060 973. Message coming in from next door. We use voice notes. What's that?
So essentially you just record yourself speaking in a very, up to kind of 2-3 minutes at a time. It's just a much more personal way of communicating.
No, it isn't. It's not a personal way of communicating at all. That's just you talking into a phone.
It's more personal than texting because at least you get some kind of idea in terms of tone and the way, all of the kind of interpersonal stuff that you lose through texting.
But why don't you just call someone?
Well, I do because I'm old.
He's old. He made it. 0345 6060 973. I do, I mean, it is a serious point. There is a serious point buried in there somewhere that if we lose the ability to actually communicate with each other using our mouths, then there goes the English language, really. I mean, we'll just be communicating with each other in emoticons or whatever is the next version of that. Oh, by the way, if you haven't seen what this new artificial intelligence thing can do, Sora, then you need to look it up on the internet straight away.
Affirmative.
Because it has got so smart. Artificial intelligence is so intelligent now that it has rendered the human race stupid by comparison. You just write a line of text, like, for instance, an ant crawling through an ant's nest holding a torch and illuminating the inside, and it can create it. And it looks indistinguishable from the real thing. I mean, that's the key. Because so far, AI, artificial intelligence, particularly if you look at its rendition of the human face, which we are most attuned to, faces and hands. That's why artists have great difficulty doing faces and hands, because it's the thing that we recognise the most. We pay the most attention to faces and can distinguish between one person and 8 billion other people instantly. Whereas the same is not true for cats, for instance. And one black cat looks just the same as another one, to us, mostly. But to cats, they can tell the difference. From a blooming mile away they can. So, but that's because cats are attuned to other cats' faces. I can't remember what I was talking about now. How did I get onto that? Recognising faces. What's that got to do with speaking to each other on the phone? I should lay a trail behind myself so I can always go back to where I was.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Hot H-O-T-A-I-R.
Paul says, do you think that it is possible that the Tories didn't vote at the end of the Gaza debate for the following reason? That the speaker... Oh, no, I've read that already. Kerry says, the yellow-tinted glasses sold for driving were anti-glare. This is... God, it seems like so long ago we were talking about this. Seems like days. The yellow-tinted glasses sold for driving were anti-glare. They help when some idiot has badly adjusted headlights or those stupidly bright ones that burn a hole through your soul via your eyes. Yeah, why aren't they illegal? I mean, cars are getting ridiculously have got ridiculously big these days. And that means that where the headlights are much higher than on a normal car. And so it does render you completely blind when they're coming at you in the opposite direction. And no one's doing anything about it. Hello? And I'm stunned by that. There should be some sort of law, shouldn't there? I mean, I thought there was. That you're supposed to not dazzle oncoming traffic because it is not a great step forward in road safety, crying out loud. Yeah, that happens all the time. And, of course, much, much worse now with those LED lights. But I don't know. Yeah, well, I mean, you perhaps know better than me, but it doesn't seem like wearing sunglasses at night is a very good idea. But maybe they're tinted special yellow ones for driving. And I restate my case, tinted yellow ones during the day, as long as they're very, very clear, they just put a little tint on it rather than actually diminishing the light that gets to your eyeball. They just make every day into a bright, sunny day. It really does make such a difference. Heston, Isaac.
Yes, I'm back again. Right, I remember the third thing.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Why does our Prime Minister keep doing the job? Because when he finally leaves, he'll get a nice little lifetime pension of £115,000 a year and rising. There you go.
Well, I know that millionaires and billionaires do seem... The more money they have, the more desperate they appear to want to cling on to every last penny of it. So I suppose that he wouldn't give it up. But he could make that kind of change in one day doing that financial finagling racket that he used to do.
Absolutely, yeah. And also, he's the other thing as well. He's he's all set for a move to California. That's why he did a job interview with Elon Musk last year. He brought Elon Musk over to London, and it was basically a job interview. And also, he can also join the, a fair play to him. I mean, I'm thinking of doing a similar sort of thing. He can go on all the right-wing shows, and sort of say,
But he's not very good at that kind of thing. Yeah, and I don't think he's very good at that sort of media. He doesn't do people very well. I'm not sure whether he's actually met many of us. But he doesn't come across on TV. And now certain people do. You've either got it or you haven't, and he ain't in vast amounts.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I'm not being critical of the man, I'm not being critical, but I'm just saying, he's very smart in in feathering his nest. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah. Well,
and speaking of feathering one's nest, I'm officially a year away from retirement.
Oh yeah.
And I'm looking at my pension, and I'm thinking, oh dear,
need more feathers.
I think equates to, at the moment, £100 a month.
Well, don't spend it all in the same place. Oh, no, too late. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Isaac. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. Keep in mind that we have just about the worst pension in the first world. That we also have just about the meanest welfare system in the whole of the world, which is why we do not top the happiness index like all those perfect countries do, the usual suspects, Sweden and Denmark and Finland and all of that lot, because they do have a good safety nets in case you need them. We don't, because we are run by those who think that whoever wins gets the prizes, which is fine if you're one of those people that has already won, which is what they are. And we go along with it. It's amazing, really. And we are we're invited to believe that and regurgitate this thought whenever asked, that anybody that says that it is not a good way of conducting our affairs is just engaging in the... oh, God. And I knew that I was going to lose this phrase as I was approaching it in that sentence. The politics of envy. The politics of envy. That's what they say over and over again. People who have nothing, who've been screwed over their entire lives by millionaires, and insist that things must remain that way because otherwise we're engaging in the politics of envy. I mean, some people you just can't reach. 0345 6060 973. Let's see now. Osaka. John.
Hi, Nick. I've just noticed there's a bunch of workmen who have just arrived outside my house, and it looks like they're going to start drilling a hole in the ground. And I've got my baby on my lap, so I don't know how far I'm going to get through this call.
What are they drilling for?
I don't know. Maybe they're trying to get into my house. I don't know.
Hey, have you been outside because Japan, you must be approaching blossom season?
Yeah, it's getting warmer gradually. It's got a blue sky today, which I'm very grateful for. Yeah.
But do you live? Wait, okay. Well, I think I've never been to Japan, but I've seen many pictures of the blossoms in Japan. It looks like they would be the envy of the entire world. Promise me you'll go out and take a peek.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that.
Right.
I do that every year on public holiday. Got a kind of fixed gathering that I go to.
Okay. So what's up, John?
Yeah. I had a bit of a revelation this week. So I heard, Liz Truss went to some big conference in America. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she got in trouble for not saying that the leader of the EDL was this bad guy. So. The American host was like, yeah, you've got this British hero,
Steve Bannon,
Mr. Robinson.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she just kind of let that go by with that and just kind of smiled.
Right.
I think I know what happened. So she probably, she might have been nervous, in front of like a lot of people on the stage.
There weren't that many people there.
And she hears this, she's like, oh, Robinson. In her head, she's like, well, yeah, actually, I like Time Team, and I thought Blackadder was quite good.
Yeah, Robinson. She's thinking Wimbledon, tennis, cool, refreshing drink.
No. She thought he meant Tony Robinson instead of Tommy Robinson. So
I think that it just went by her. Because she always looks to me as though she's just been hit in the head with a spade, like she's just slightly stunned. And I just don't think it registered with her, perhaps. I mean, this is the best reading of it. It didn't register with it. It went by because, I mean, she's got this sort of dopey smile on her face all the time. And I don't know what she's thinking in her head, but I bet the sound is echoey. I bet there's vast spaces between her ears that aren't really occupied by anything. And so it didn't really register with her, perhaps until afterwards. And then she's brewing that day, ever since.
No, I think that's exactly right. I'll tell you what it reminded me of. There used to be on the Japanese news here, there was a really good presenter, and he spoke really good English as well. So when they'd have like foreign, politicians or whoever coming in, they would do an interview on the news, and he would like speak in English with them, and it was quite good. And then he said something mean about the government, and mysteriously he was moved to cover like small things going on in some distant part of the countryside. And this other guy came in, and this new guy, he can't speak English at all. So when the similar thing happens when they get these like foreign people coming in to do interviews on the news, he reads a question out in the phonetics of the English. Like he's obviously just reading out the words,
right?
And then the person will give like an interesting response, and usually the interviewer would then kind of come back on that and say, "Oh, that's interesting. What about this?" But you can see the guy sitting there. He's not understanding. He just said he reads out his set line. The response comes, and he just kind of stares at them blankly. And the person's, you can see they're looking like, what?
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, next question. So yeah,
because reading a foreign language is much easier than hearing and understanding what somebody is saying to you in that foreign language.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think that just generally, Liz Truss is very unclear.
I'm genuinely unclear.
Genuinely unclear about this or any other subject. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, John. 0345 6060 973. I should have asked him about the weather because the whole of Asia at the moment is on fire. I wonder if he's still there. What's the weather like? No, he's gone. Too late. I prevaricated and I lose. I get nothing. But Carol McGiffin has been whinging and whining and moaning about the weather because she's over in that area right now.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it was something of the order of, some websites give you what the actual temperature is and then what the temperature feels like, based on the humidity and wind speed and so on. And the temperature that's over there at the moment, it feels like something like 119 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow, that's too hot. Even for me, that's too hot. A little bit sweaty. But nothing to do with global warming. Goodness me, no. Why would anybody think that?
Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Anybody care what this guy thinks?
No!
Craig texts, most people born on the 29th of February celebrate their birthday on October the 17th. Is that true? Dave in Blackpool, we're only interested in the facts on this show. Clive says, I remember Joe 90. Fulham FC were never the same after he left. I think that's a Joe Cole reference. Glasgow, hello, Chrissy.
Hi, Nick. How
Chrissy.
are you?
Good, thanks.
Good.
Is it raining?
Probably. I'm not even going to bother opening the curtains. I think we both know the answer to that.
Well, just assume that it's raining, yes.
Yeah, we'll just assume it's raining. You were talking about Liz Truss, and you were talking about her looking stunned.
Yeah.
And I think I said last week what I was going to say to you if I phoned, that I thought she looked like a plucked budgie with concussion. Because she does. She kind of looks like...
She does. That's exactly right. A plucked budgie with concussion. Yeah.
If she shaved her head, she'd look like eyeballs on a stick. She'd look like one of these little lolly stick puppets. She's quite a funny old bird.
Like a gonk without the hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, a bit like a makeup brush that's been used too often. She's just got that kind of... She reminds me of certain things. I'm a bit strange. You mentioned... you don't need to agree. You mentioned... earlier on, supermarionation.
Yes.
and Thunderbirds and stuff, and it put me immediately in mind of my favourite kind of animation things, which were all Ray Harryhausen's work.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely loved Ray
Jason and the
Harryhausen.
Argonauts.
That's right, yeah. Clash of the Titans and all the Sinbad movie monsters and stuff.
when the skeletons burst out through the earth and started...
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And Ray Harryhausen exhibition was on in Edinburgh a few years ago, and I went to see it, and it was amazing because my favourite character was there. In fact, I had everything from his childhood. He'd been making puppets and things ever since he was a small boy. He'd done it all his life.
Was he Scottish?
And no.
Oh.
No. Gosh, I went to an exhibition. I don't know anything about him. I just
Did you just go to the
going,
cafe?
No, no. The exhibition was phenomenal, and it had all the little figures that were in the movies, the actual ones they'd used for the stop motion animation. Yeah. And there she was, my favourite, Medusa. I've always loved the Medusa from his movie, but she gave me nightmares as a kid.
He didn't have anything to do with King Kong, did he? Was that him?
I think he did. Yes, he did. When it was kind of the fight, and the dinosaurs and kind of ripping jaws open and horrible things. Yeah, that was Ray Harryhausen. Yeah, he had a long and illustrious career. He was a bit of a pioneer in that.
Most certainly, yeah.
Yeah, I just took me down memory lane.
Yeah, now you can, anybody in the comfort of their own room can just write a sentence out on a piece of paper, like, I want King Kong battling a T-Rex with a rainbow in the background on the top of a New York skyscraper, and this AI, this Sora thing, can whip it up toot sweet, and it looks like the real thing.
So if I type in something like, I want to see myself and Vin Diesel on a beach somewhere and that kind of thing, would it do that?
It can magic it up out of thin air.
Okay. Well, it
is amazing. Yeah, all right. Yeah, you got a lot of homework to do there, Chrissy.
Yeah, I've got some stuff to do.
All right, good to talk to you. Thanks for that. Ta-da. It really is amazing. If you haven't seen what Sora can do yet, it's amazing and incredible and great and terrifying all at the same time, because you cannot tell the difference anymore. There was one newspaper that put a lot of these, I think it was Washington Post. It's behind a paywall, sadly, but if you can squeeze your way behind it and have a look, they asked it to make a video of something that they already had a video of in real life, and they put them side by side, and you can't tell the difference. I mean, it's astonishing. Even really, really, really difficult things, you would think, like water crashing onto rocks. As you get sort of what you'd call a helicopter shot as it goes around the coast, and they've got water on the rocks, and a lighthouse with the light spinning around, and things that you think would take a special effects studio months and thousands of people to come up with. Now anybody can do it in the comfort of their own bedroom. Everyone in Hollywood has just been fired. They must be freaking out. Because you see a big film, like with lots of special effects, and you sit there 10 minutes after the film, and you see thousands of names scrolling up. All of these people. It's kind of odd, really, because that did not used to happen in the old days. In the old days, you got a single, solitary, static shot of the cast, the director, and the producer, and that was it. Now, the scrolling credits take as long to watch as the film. But all of those people have just been put out of business by some artificial intelligence.
Affirmative.
A robot just terminated your contract.
Correct.
And they just went on strike for that very thing. But they settled before this Sora thing came out. So they settled too soon. Because previous they thought that, artificial intelligence, because we know the chat GPT thing, write me a story in the manner of Shakespeare about Al Capone, that kind of thing. It can do that. passably, but they had no idea that what was coming around the corner was this thing. And it's so good now, it's terrifying. But these are the first videos that it's making. I mean, you can remember back what computers used to look like. You know, those green characters on a screen, and all you could do is type on it, pretty much. And that's what a first computer looked like. And now look at them. I mean, we got more computing power in our phones, in our pockets, than they had when they put man on the moon. So it's impossible to imagine where this is going next, if it's already perfect in the first week of attempts. Strange and scary days indeed. Or it could be absolutely tremendous. I mean, it could be the sort of the kind of thing that that changed music around the punk era, because people realised that you didn't need a studio with shag-piled carpet and hot and cold running servants and all the rest of it. You could just knock a track up in your garage and be on Top of the Pops the next week. Same thing with films now. So, yeah, I mean, it's all tremendously exciting, but for the forthcoming elections, kind of terrifying, because you can't trust anything you see from this moment on. Not one single solitary thing. Chingford. Hello, John.
Oh, hi, Nick. Just a correction. It was Willis O'Brien was the genius behind King Kong, and he was actually... Sorry?
Not Ray Harryhausen.
No, Willis O'Brien was Ray Harryhausen's mentor. I mean, Willis O'Brien was the guy who started the getting little figures and animating them.
Yeah.
So Willis O'Brien was the guy behind King Kong, and he was... I mean, I think Ray Harryhausen must have seen King Kong about 500 times. I mean, Willis O'Brien was his, mentor.
Right.
So he was the guy who started it. And Ray Harryhausen was actually American.
Okay. That makes sense.
So, and also, actually, coming to Rula Lenska, the film that derailed her career was a thing called Queen Kong, which is obviously one of the worst films ever made, but it never turns up anywhere. It wasn't released, it escaped. Another bit of Rula trivia.
I never heard of it. Queen Kong.
Yeah, it's actually one of the worst British films ever. It's never been shown even on Talking Pictures TV. You can kind of dig up these weirdo things. But
if
you look up Queen...
Yeah, that's a good channel, that, Talking Pictures TV. I mean, you can while away the day watching all sorts of interesting stuff on that channel.
Yeah. No, I like it as well, yeah. So, that's that, really.
Okay, good work. Thanks a lot.
Sorry to correct you.
No, corrections always received with appreciation.
Thank you.
Thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. Dave from Blackpool texts, Nick, what's up with Blackpool? That's an excellent question, Dave. I want you to look into it for me. Salome texts, my daughter celebrates her birthday on the 28th of February when there isn't a 29th. See, I don't think that's right. You can't celebrate your birthday on the day before your birthday. If her birthday is the day after the 28th, then she should celebrate it on the day after the 28th, regardless of what it's actually called. Because the day remains the same, doesn't it? I mean, days are determined by how we spin, both on our axis and around the sun. So we will occupy the same place in space as we would have done, regardless of what we humans actually call that date. So I think that she should celebrate it on the day after the 28th. I mean, I don't want to, insert myself into a domestic here, but I think that your daughter's got it wrong there. She needs to be corrected. 0345 6060 973. Greenwich. Hello, John. Yes, John. John is speaking to somebody. There you are. Yes, John.
Hi. I think my thunder was stolen by another John. I'm a trustee of the Ray Harryhausen Foundation, so I was about to fill you in all the facts and figures there of Ray Harryhausen, but that gent, the other John, beat me to it.
You're a trustee of the Ray Harryhausen Foundation?
Yes, that's right, yes.
Well, what does that involve?
Well, we look after the collection of Ray Harryhausen, so most of the creatures for most of his films still exist, because Ray kept everything. He lived in a house in West London, and he moved over here in the late 1950s to make The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. And from there, and from that house, all of the animation creatures were created, and they still exist, so we restore them.
Huh. So he was American?
He was American, yes. He married a Scottish lady, Diana Livingstone, who was the great-granddaughter of David Livingstone, the explorer, and thus the Scottish connection we have today.
Huh. So where are all these things?
In Scotland, in a secret, as it were, James Bond-style bunker outside of Edinburgh.
Really?
And so they've been there now for the last sort of 10 years with Ray's daughter, Vanessa, who's also a trustee of the foundation.
So they've got the skeletons there from the Jason and the Argonauts?
All the skeletons from Jason, the original skeleton from the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, which is part now of the Skeleton Army, or the Children of the Hydra's Teeth, to give them their dramatic full on-screen persona title. And most of the creatures are there. So if we think of like Clash of the Titans with the last film in 1981, we have everything from that film, and most of the creatures as we work backwards. We even have a Mighty Joe Young from 1949 when Ray worked with Willis O'Brien, the creator of King Kong. So there is a Kong connection.
Mm.
So your previous John was right. And Willis O'Brien was Ray's mentor. But Ray's films have never been as popular as they are now. Regularly re-released, issued in 4K, big exhibitions around the world. We have very expensive toys that are created. I've just done an unboxing for the Kraken online. People can see those. And they're for grown-up adults, people like you and me, Nick, who can afford £300 or £400 per item.
Right. Because there's a lot of those shops. There's a lot of those shops that have just come up. They seem to be everywhere now. Like those American sweet shops were everywhere, but they seem to be being replaced by shops that do, like Harry Potter type stuff, or they'll do Star Wars memorabilia and stuff like that.
Really expensive. Like Forbidden Planets is the best one in London.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
If you've got deep pockets, you can spend a fortune and an afternoon sort of engaging in your childhood pursuits.
There used to
buying
be
an old Star Wars figure.
Right. There used to be a film museum in London. Do we still have a film museum in this country?
Yes, we do. There was one in Covent Garden that moved from the South Bank, which is a private one, which is the Cinema Museum. And then, of course, there was MOMI, which was part of the NFT and BFI on the South Bank.
Yes, that's right. That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah, but that doesn't exist anymore. That's not there, is it?
No, it isn't. And that's where Ray had his biggest London exhibition back in the 1990s. So, it's a shame the museums don't exist anymore, but the want for memorabilia does. So the Oscars Museum and the new George Lucas Museum wants the Ray Harryhausen collection. It's 50,000 items strong. So it's the largest animation collection outside of the Walt Disney Company. And it's only run by the three of us, myself, Vanessa, and we have one member of staff. So we're very small in size, but very big in scope.
You ever thought about going on the Antiques Roadshow? Get it valued?
Oh, we have to keep getting it valued for insurance purposes, so it's quite eye-watering. Because film props now are worth more than most sort of well-known paintings by people like John Martin and others. So Ray Harryhausen's personal art collection, which was worth quite a lot, his own collection of creatures like Medusa and the Kraken are now worth much more.
Well, there was an episode, because I love the Antiques Roadshow, I could watch that all day long, and there was an episode where somebody came in with, I think, the jacket from Raiders of the Lost Ark, maybe his hat, and somebody had one of the original plastic helmets for Darth Vader. And, they did this whole thing about, where do you get it and what do you think it's worth? And they build up to the big moment. And it was worth something like £250,000 for a plastic helmet.
Easily, if you can get the provenance right. So once people know it's genuine, you can afford, it's yours to sell, and it's actually original, then these things, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
These are kind of props from. But if you think Ray Harryhausen's creatures are actually the stars of. So rather than being a prop like a helmet, these are the original Medusa, the original Kraken, Pegasus, Calabos, so on and so on. So it would be a bit like having Marilyn Monroe kind of frozen in time and available to see, but the creature versions.
Yes. Huh. Well, that's very... So can people see this stuff, or is it just collecting dust somewhere?
Not at all. It's very well preserved and very well looked after, more than most of the film stars in Hollywood are looked after. So they're in special irregular temperatures. We make sure that they don't decay, and we restore them where we can. And if people go on to rayharryhausen.com, they can find our social media links. We're quite present on Twitter and Facebook. We do unboxing videos, and then we have regular exhibitions. There are books that we've had published. I wrote one myself called Harryhausen, The Lost Movies, about all of the unmade Ray Harryhausen films. There was 80 unmade films, including the offer of the first Marvel movie by Stan Lee in the early 80s.
Oh.
So, I happened upon Ray Harryhausen. I was an 18-year-old film student. I picked up the London phone directory. He was the only R. Harryhausen listed, and I asked him if I could make a documentary about his life and work. I had to ring after 6, of course, because it was cheaper back in those days.
Right.
And that's what got me started in film and TV.
Huh. So can people see this stuff? Are you doing a show in the future?
We'll have something planned with the Oscars Museum in the next 2 years.
Where is that? Where is that?
The Oscars Museum is in Los Angeles.
Oh, right, okay.
UK-wise, we hope to have something again soon. The exhibition at the National Gallery of Scotland ran for nearly a year and a half. And online you can see bits and pieces. I made a documentary with Ray in the 80s, late 80s, that you can see. So it's all there. There's lots to see.
Well, fascinating. Thanks very much for that, John.
You're welcome. Thanks, Nick.
All right, cheers.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late.
We are running late. Let's have a call in Watford. Hello, Tanya. Oh, Tanya.
Hi, Nick.
Tanya.
I'm in East Horsley. Hi, Nick.
Yes, Tanya.
I'm in East Horsley.
Oh, can you call us when you get to Watford?
It's raining outside. just to cheer you up before you go to bed. I actually phoned to remind you what you were talking about. You'd forgotten the topic you were talking about.
Yes.
But I think it was AI. There's actually an app which I saw on telly that can reproduce your voice exactly. All you have to do is to get about 10 seconds or 12 seconds of your own voice, and then it will reproduce your voice into anything that it wants to say, which means it could be that you're out of a job. It might cheer you up before you go.
Out of a job? That is terrifying.
It's scary. It is scary, is it not? Because it actually showed a young boy's voice phoning up his mother and saying, "I'm in terrible trouble, please, you've got to send me some money."
Oh, my God.
There's all sorts of things that this app can do now. It's not. I don't think it was the one you mentioned.
Right. Sora.
That's right. But there is a program on television now called The Scammers, and how to scam the scammers. And honestly, it's absolutely terrifying.
This has all happened so fast, hasn't it? I mean, it's just come... we had Chat GPT a year or so ago, but what's happening now is like a tsunami wave of change.
I know.
By the way, Tanya, how do I know this is you?
Well, you don't. It isn't, actually. I'm sitting in an office, and I'm sitting in an office in India. I'm talking something, so it's not me at all.
The next thing you'll ask me is if I have just been in a crash.
Yeah, have you been in a crash?
Yeah.
Because we want you to give me all your bank details,
right, well,
so that we can forward you compensation.
Have you got a pen and paper?
I have indeed.
I'll give you my password first. It's password.
Oh, right, yes. You and 10 billion others.
Yeah. And what you're just describing is exactly... I mean, it seemed at the time a bit silly and ridiculous, but what you're describing is right out of Mission Impossible. They put a little thing on them and could impersonate perfectly anybody that they downloaded the file of. Wow.
And they can download your face too, and if you're a politician, they can put you on television and give you a whole load of crap that you're telling people. You simply wouldn't know.
Tanya, giving people a whole lot of crap is a living. Don't knock it.
Sweet dreams.
Thanks a lot, Tanya. And I'm just looking at one of those, I don't think you can really call them toys, but one of these adult collectibles of Ray Harryhausen's Cyclops bust. It's a terrifying looking thing with a horn out of his head and one eye right in the middle of his forehead. £659.
What?
£659. It says it's a pre-order item and price can vary. Well, it'd have to vary by about £658 for me to be interested, but terrifying looking thing. And I don't just mean the price. 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 And I don't just mean the price.